I was watching a video of yours recently regarding where you put out a point like, if the Earth was to be destroyed and thousands of years later you discover like a fictional book, you would assume like if it contains the references to real places, you would be foolish to assume that the entirety of it is fact.
Yeah. This was a video
So
called Mythology is Not History.
correct.
Yeah.
So my question regarding that is, for instance, Ramayana or
Mm.
maybe Krishna. So there was a movie that came back recently called Kartikeya, where they're basically claiming that Krishna was like a real person and like he was an archaeologist and a musician and what all and what not. Plus,
Mm.
the only I think the shred of proof that they give is that the remains of Dwarka have been discovered. So
Okay.
the entirety of it must be true. So my question to you is like, what's your take on all this? And like, if it is really a myth, like, then how did like so many people come to believe this myth across the country and even in Indonesia and places like Bali, you find temples. Like, what is the
Stories
timeline do
travel,
you
right?
think that this actually happened?
I I
But like, what
I
they
can't
made
give you
you.
accurate historical timelines just off the top of my head, but I think one of the greatest things that people forget to note about the ancient world is that people still traveled. People still took roads, took long journeys across
Mhm.
great distances, went to Greece, went to China. Chinese stories are found in India. Chinese stories are found in Arabian Nights. Aladdin and the Jadui Chirag, that story is
Mhm.
actually a Chinese folk tale. It found its way to Arabian
I see.
Nights. Similarly, there have been statues found in ancient Greece that seem to have something to do with India. And there have been recorded instances of the Greeks coming to India, bringing their stories and their knowledge about architecture to India, and influences of it can be found in Indian temple architecture from that time. So
And I
these things are
believe
not.
the astrology as well, right? Right?
Yeah,
Some
sure. I
people
mean,
claim that.
uh, people, no, astrology is kind of something that emerged in multiple places at once. There was a time,
Okay.
like everyone has the stars, right? Everyone can look up, and everyone knows
Mhm.
that the position of the stars has something to do with my fate, because when stars are there, it rains. When stars are here, it's really
Mhm.
hot. When stars are here, it starts snowing and the trees all go down, and I have difficulty finding food. So it is not a much of a stretch to imagine that people thought that the stars were literally a place where they could read their fate, and that's how astrology may have evolved. So in India, it happened for a different reason, of a different kind of stuff. In the West, it happened in a slightly different kind of stuff. And in addition to that, there still may be interactions which fed both of these things. Hey, you guys are looking at the stars, we also do it, this is how we do it. So something like that may have happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, I was more interested in knowing that those exact timelines, like because we have like a parallel history going on with the mythology kind of a thing. Because on one side we have like those 4,500 BC, and we have those Indus Valley civilizations, and then we come to like whatever we know, what is documented, found by archaeologists, and then we have like a parallel history running where these Hindutva gang basically claims that our Sanatan Dharma dates back to millennia. So, like,
Hmm.
what do you think, like, regarding the timelines? Yeah, you told that you're not exactly sure about it, but if you had
Yeah,
to take a, like,
I
how
think there is
old are
some.
our
I think
scary stories?
I think there is some general consensus about the age of things in the works of world historians. And if you read any prominent historian, you'll come to some conclusion about when, what happened when, right? Beyond that, if you want to get granular, you can discard some things right off the top of your, you know, you can discard Dayanand Saraswati saying that human beings existed on Earth billions of years ago, right?
Mhm.
That's just plain impossible, because anatomically modern human beings have existed for, less than a million years. So
Yeah,
some things are easy to discard, some things are hard to discard, some things are hard to judge. uh, when someone tells me that flying ships were in the sky, and people were, the ships used to be fueled by mercury, I have no reason to think that that is the case, because if that was the case, mercury could have been used as a fuel today, right? But we don't have
agreed.
that. Then there is some dhandali happening, which is that a lot of stuff that is called really ancient is actually not that ancient. Like stuff like Vedic math, it's not as old as the
Yep,
Vedas. It's actually, recorded history में किसी ने बनाया है, बना के एक किताब बना के छाप दिया,
exactly. Yeah, science has
उसके ऊपर
made
वैदिक
a
मैथ लिख
great
दिया है.
video on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I would say archaeologically, historically, there is a general consensus that we should go by, and anything that disagrees with it can be rejected with varying amounts of confidence. Some things you can reject super confidently. ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता. Some things you'll be like, I don't
agree.
know, man. It seems to have happened in the same place, but there is no evidence. So I'll reserve my judgment. So that's where I am.
But like to conclude on this, like since you have researched Hindu mythology a lot, like where do you place these stories, the origin of these stories, like these Mahabharata and Ramayana?
I am
Like
personally of the
I
opinion
I
that
don't think that they're at least like they're definitely not originating at least back when Indus Valley civilization was happening. It definitely happened sometime
after that.
during our Chola dynasty
Yeah,
or
I
sometime
agree. Yeah, same
and
here.
after Buddhism.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm not exactly sure.
Sangam literature, around the time that Sangam literature happened, I think that was the great literary upheaval in the Indian subcontinent, and that is when most of these must have emerged either spontaneously or in response to each other.
Yep, and like within the religion as well, there are like multiple sects who claim superiority. Like the Shaivites claim
Yeah,
that
yeah,
Shiva is superior, Vaishnavas claim that Vishnu is superior. So that gives a lot of contradiction.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
It also creates a very fertile place for imagination to play, right? हमारा देवता तुम्हारे
Yeah,
देवता से अच्छा है कैसे पता ये देख I wrote a story about it. So that's how a
agreed.
lot of it comes into being also.